Richa, we are now live. Over to you.
थैंक यू सर। एक कहावत है कि रोम एक दिन में नहीं बना। जीवन में बहुत सी चीजों को पूरा करने के लिए लगातार मेहनत करनी पड़ती है। सपने देखने पड़ते हैं, प्रयास करना पड़ता है, उन सपनों पे विश्वास करना पड़ता है। ऐसे ही कुछ कहानियों से हम आज रूबरू होंगे। गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। I, Richa Vashisht, a member of Bhavan's Old Student Society, extend a warm welcome to you all. We have with us Senior Principal Ma'am, Mrs. Vinita Arora, Vice Principal Ma'am, Mrs. Suparna Bansal, Principal Ma'am, Junior Wing, Mrs. Soma Mukhopadhyay, teachers of Bhavan Vidyalaya Chandigarh, our guests, Mr. Yashanjit Singh, Indian Railway and Traffic Services Officer, Mrs. Isha Duhan, Indian Administrative Services Officer, and Ms. Navya Singh, Indian Foreign Services Officer, the students of class 11th and 12th, and the members of BOSS for today's session. Our guests are ex-students of Bhavan Vidyalaya Chandigarh. They are now working as civil servants with the Government of India. They will share their experiences and journey with you all today. Before we start today's session, I would like to invite Mrs. Richa Gupta. She's the Vice President of BOSS. She will tell you about the organization and activities carried out by BOSS in the past few months. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Richa. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I welcome all the students of our school and our guests, Mr. Yashanjit Singh, Mrs. Isha Duhan, and Miss Navya Singh, who have made us and our school proud. Before we start this event, let me introduce you all to BOSS, that is Bhavan's Old Student Society. It is an alumni organization of Bhavan Vidyalaya Chandigarh, functional since last 22 years. In consistence with school's endeavor to ensure holistic development of all the students, BOSS has been actively organizing a plethora of activities, including blood donation camps, school fete, BOSS versus Bhavan friendly cricket and basketball matches, Teachers' Day celebrations, school reunion, and many more. Mr. Vinay Agarwal, the president of BOSS, got a sudden plan because of which he could not join us today. So let us have a look at some of the activities of BOSS during pandemic through a PPT prepared under the guidance of our president. BOSS conducted various social events during the pandemic. It extended much needed support to the healthcare workers of the Tri-City by donating 200 reusable PPE kits. An invaluable support to Chandigarh Police by BOSS was extended by donating 100 PPE kits, including bodysuit, face masks, N95 masks, and gloves. The team also donated 500 ration kits to the Deputy Commissioner of Chandigarh, Mr. Mandeep Singh Brar, for the families living in Bapu Dham colony. In their bid to help the police personnel, BOSS donated 5,000 water bottles at Sector 39 police station to the SHO Inspector, Amanjot Singh. BOSS team also donated 10,000 chocolates for the doctors and pandemic staff at PGI Chandigarh, and another 10,000 chocolates to the warriors of Municipal Corporation Chandigarh as a token of appreciation and respect during pandemic in collaboration with Sankalp. Then another event in collaboration with Sankalp was the distribution of the chocolates to the traffic police as a Corona warriors these days. The team, in collaboration with Sankalp, distributed 15,000 chocolates to Sector 9 police station, traffic police line, and the various checkpoints across the city. A unique virtual reunion of 1998 batch students and their teachers was a remarkable and most memorable event for all to go back memory lane and relive their school times. Not even the COVID situations could stop them to meet virtually though. BOSS and EVA jointly hosted a webinar on the topic, The Future of Punjabi Cinema during this period with Mr. Gurpreet Kuggi and Mr. Gippy Garewal, who were the invited guest speakers. BOSS, in collaboration with EVA again, conducted a webinar on the topic, Importance of Mental and Physical Health in Challenging Times, that is this COVID time, with Mr. Puneet Isar as a guest speaker. And last but not the least, our latest event was the webinar on the topic Mission Civil Services with Mr. Aditya Bansal and Ms. Chandrajyoti Singh. They were invited as guest speakers to motivate our students. Thank you very much for listening. And now I invite Senior Principal Ma'am, Mrs. Vinita Arora, to address our students and our esteemed guests with her kind words.
Thank you, Richa. And good evening, everyone. All students from Bhavan Vidyalaya and of course our seniors from BOSS. So it's another date with all of you that I have been looking forward to, and I'm sure our students have also been looking forward to. My compliments to BOSS for keeping the activities on during the pandemic time, one after the other. I can understand it's not easy to organize these activities. So BOSS team, big thumbs up to you. To our guests today, first of all, Yashanjit, thank you so much for joining us. I've had the pleasure of speaking to you
Yes,
in the past, but I don't recall meeting you. But like I always say, old people are allowed the liberty. Welcome, Isha Duhan, and thank you for being here with us this evening. And Navya, pleasure to see you again after so long. Haven't stayed in touch, but it's good to reconnect with you once again. And to all our students from the senior classes, I hope this is going to be a fruitful session. There is always something to learn from people who have gone through the experiences that you are probably hoping to go through some stage of life. So I'm not going to take long and hand over the proceedings to the three guests who are here today to interact with our students. I'm looking forward to the session.
Thank you, ma'am, for your motivating words. Now I invite Richa Vishisht for our session ahead, please. Over to you, Richa.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Without further ado, let's begin with today's session. I would like to introduce our first guest, Mr. Yashanjit Singh. Mr. Singh is a 2011 batch Indian Railway Traffic Services officer. He passed out from Bhavans after completing class 10th in 1999. At present, sir is working as Additional Secretary, Public Works Department and Additional Managing Director, Punjab State Warehousing Corporation. Welcome, sir. We are looking forward to some amazing shairi or words after your talk. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Richa. Principal ma'am, senior faculty of Bhavan Vidyalaya, boss. You are really the boss. I must congratulate you all people. You are doing a wonderful, wonderful job. And my colleagues, Isha, Navya, and dear friends, thank you for this opportunity. जिंदगी में हमेशा ये जरूरी होता है कि हम किसी को इंस्पायर करें. At the end of the session, I don't know whether I'll end up inspiring you or misguiding you, but I'll try my best to inspire you. So I was just thinking how to go about it. So I thought that I'll prepare a PPT or I'll go to a lecture and be a very, very formal. Then I thought that, half of you will just switch off your cameras and go away, citing bandwidth problems. So I'll be very, very, sweet, very, very short and, extempore. I just jotted few points, which Richa told me to be strictly adhering to. So I'll be just concentrating on the points that Richa told me to. So thank you for the introduction, Richa. I'll just, again, introduce myself a little bit. That I'm from an Indian Railway Traffic Service. I'm 2011. Indian Railway Traffic Service basically looks after two aspects of railways. One is the commercial aspect and one is the operational aspect. So if you know your train is late, you know who to blame. And when you're going, your Shatabdi ticket is not confirmed, you know who to call. So, so this is what we do. So basically, it's a great job. it's very exhilarating. It's very satisfying because movement of people, movement of goods across India is of great importance, and doing it is it's an honor. I spent my 6 years in railways. Then I got a deputation to Government of Punjab, and since last 3 years I'm working with the Government of Punjab. I joined here as Additional Secretary Finance. I have been Director Lotteries. I have been AMD Punjab Infrastructure Development Board. Now, with Warehousing Corporation. So I've wore different hats, and it has been a great experience working in the state government as well. So just to start with my friends, why civil services? Now, civil services, as you know, is both envied and thrashed by public. So they have different reasons to envy us and to thrash us. So, if I say that why civil servants are envied? Yes, because it's the social status that this exam provides you. It's a sense of achievement because it is one of the difficult exams that you go through. You certainly enter from nobody to, somebody. People start, recognizing you. It comes with a lot of perks, fringe benefits, everything. It's very inspiring. And why thrashed? Yes, people think we are insensitive, we are corrupt, we don't look after the country as we should. But the easiest thing to do in life is to criticize others. So I'll take the criticism in a positive way, but I'll also tell you, and also my colleagues Isha and Navya will tell you about their journey, and you'll recognize and you'll realize and you'll appreciate that it's tough to be to be in our shoes. There are difficult situations, but it is like that. So, for all the students, why civil servants? Why I chose civil services? What inspired me? As a novice, when you are out of school or when you're out of graduation, your mind is very narrow. You look at things and you decide, to take a plunge. So, Inderpreet is here. Inderpreet will, appreciate. I always wanted a red beacon on my car. That was my inspiration. I wanted to, जो लोग हैं ये लाल बत्ती वाले यार ये बनना है ये सलाम करते हैं ये क्या करते हैं so that was my innocent inspiration. I started late. I was a little casual in front. I was a very average student. My batchmates are here. My friends are here. They'll vouch for that. I was a very normal, very simple student, but I started late. Then I decided that yes, I have to join civil services for the innocent inspiration that I just talked to you. Then I became a little disciplined in life, worked hard, and touchwood crossed the finish line. And I'll tell you that inspirations doesn't stay the same. As you grow, as you carry experience, your inspirations change in life, your priorities change in life. I'll tell you how my inspiration changes. It's not that lal batti anymore that inspires me. It is not that that everyone knows you inspires me. It is something else. It is something else that inspires me right now. So I have been my experience has been of what 9 years, and when you are not clearing this exam and your friends are getting settled, somebody is going to the private sector, somebody is an entrepreneur. Inderpreet was doing very well, I remember. And I was sitting at home and thinking, yeah, I have taken a right decision or not. But thank God it paid. And I'll tell you how it feels when you clear civil services. I have no other words, and excuse me if somebody is hurt. It is absolutely orgasmic feeling. I'll just tell you that you cannot explain how when you clear this exam, because it is one of the toughest exams. You have to be disciplined, you have to prepare, you have to make a lot of sacrifices, but it is all worth doing it. I'll tell you how it is worth doing it, and why one should be a civil servant. You can take a lot of jobs. There is a difference between a job and a civil services. You are a civil servant. So it consists of two people, two words. One is civil, one is servant. So being a public servant is not like an ordinary job. You know, your decisions impact people. Your decisions impact lives of people. You may be a hindrance in fulfilling their dreams, or you can be a facilitator in making their dreams come true. So that is the main difference. Uh, you know what inspires me? I just told you that my red beacon, that my penchant for red beacon inspired me when I started. But now making things happen, making a positive difference in somebody's life inspires me. That is ineffable. I cannot explain, how I feel if I help someone. And civil services is one platform that helps you not to help an individual, but a class of people. You know, the entirety of class. With one decision, you can change their lives, the way they interact with the government. For a common person, civil servants are the government. गवर्नमेंट के चेहरे ही होते हैं वो. उनको उनको मोदी नहीं मिलता, उनको नव्या मिलेगी, उनको ईशा मिलेगी, उनको मैं मिलूंगा, और हम गवर्नमेंट को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. सो ये बहुत जिम्मेवारी वाली बात है. You know, when you just cross the line, when you clear it, you know, the amazing journey starts with an amazing training that happens. You know, you meet a lot of people from different services, you go for a Bharat Darshan, you interact with people, you know India. That is an amazing experience. It is beyond words. So after the training, you get into your job, you know, and from the very first day, you are the leaders. You are the leaders. You have the power, you have the authority, you have the resources to make a difference. Yes, your zone of influence at the start of the career is small. As you move up the ladder, the zone of influence increases. That is the difference. The kind of resources, the kind of positive impact that, you know, bureaucrats can have on the society, it is unimaginable. So this is what inspires me. Now I'll tell you, you know, when I small anecdotes, like what happened. There was a rail accident. I was posted in Kanpur. In a Kanpur Allahabad section, it is one of the busiest sections, and there was a passenger train that, you know, got derailed. It was a medical emergency. I was part of the you know, that division. I was called on the site, and you know, just getting into the site was an issue. I was given a lot of responsibilities, and I knew nothing about how to handle this crisis. So I just sat with my senior. You know, we thought about for 10 minutes that how to you know, do about it, how to clear the track, how to make medical arrangements, how to divert trains. You know, it took us 15-20 minutes to get into our senses, and then we delivered. You know, I came back home after 3 days, and there was a smile. There was a smile of satisfaction that we were able to clear the track on time, save people's lives, and make you know, the track ready to run trains again. Because, you know, when you are in Punjab, you don't realize what is the importance of trains. But when you are in a big state like UP or Bihar, it is you know, it is not it is rightly said that it is lifeline of India. It is lifeline of India. People are dependent on railways. So I realized it that much, that how you know, we can impact people's life. It was just a few you know, a little bit of planning, and it paid off. And so this was a great experience. And you know, this is just example to tell you that how important civil servants can be, and how important small decisions can be, which can inspire others and also help other people to you know, lead a normal life. I came to Punjab. I'll tell you a story. I joined finance department. We call it FD in you know, civil services, in administration. And you know, one of the tasks, I knew nothing about finance. I had no background. My boss just you know, told me that you have to deliver. I'm giving you 3 tasks, and I was left with no option but to, you know, study and about finance and everything. And I have made 3 budgets of Punjab so far. So you know, now I can say that I know state finances in and out. So what happened was that you know, I was given an IT task. there is a system called the Integrated Financial Management System. It takes care of the government finances it's an IT platform. Since 2010, you will not believe me that it was a defunct system. Nobody cared about it. In 21st century, where technology is changing lives, we were having an IT system. We spent 135 crore rupees to build that system, and nobody was using it. So I was given a task to, to make it from a moribund state to make it workable. And I was given about 6 months or 7 months of time. So and I delivered. I had a wonderful team of my juniors, my IT experts and specialists, and we delivered it. Now, what happened with that? It was a small thing. Now, if you go to any, if you have to fill any tax in Punjab, you can just go to the IFMS site and fill it. You don't have to come to the government offices. You don't have to deal with the lower babu who asks for some bribe to clear your bills. And with one single IT initiative, we changed the lives of the people who were harassed every day by smaller clerk or a PN to get an appointment to get their files clear. And when my team delivered this project, again the feeling was exhilarating. So small changes, making lives easy for the people was just amazing. Again, a little more example. I was with Punjab Infrastructure Development Board. Punjab Infrastructure Development Board was a pioneer organization dealing with PPP projects. When nobody knew about what PPP, public-private partnership is, PIDB was coming out with PPP projects and successful ones. When I joined PIDB, urban transport had there was no idea. Punjab mein koi urban transport ka concept hi nahi janta tha. We have cities, we have big cities like Ludhiana, we have Amritsar, we have Patiala, but in urban development mein there was no concept of urban transportation. So a BRTS project was hanging fire since last many years. So we picked it up. We said that we'll deliver it. And you can't imagine the kind of opposition that we faced. The local minister, the local MLAs, the local councillors was against that project. They said that, you are wasting money. You have defaced Amritsar city. There was a whole lobby of illegal auto drivers who were clogging and littering the roads of Amritsar. And they wanted this project to fail. And it was eventually decided that Punjab government will not go ahead with the BRTS project. Then we thought that this is not done. We have put a lot of hard work. We have made an infrastructure. We have brought in the best transporter. We have brought in the best IT team. Now it has to start. So my boss and I went to the minister and the chief minister's secretary, and we said that, sir, we want this project to start. And if we fail, you can do whatever you want. But let us, please allow us to begin this. And, I'm very happy to inform that BRTS Amritsar was chosen as one of the best BRTS projects in India. No BRTS project has ever been successful in India, but BRTS Amritsar became a success. Now that feeling again, it has taken Amritsar to a different level. It has taken Amritsar and Punjab into the urban transport level in the world. Very few BRTS projects, very few public transport projects have achieved a success what Amritsar has achieved. Now Corona has hit it. The ridership is down, but that's a different thing. It's a momentary thing. But this was again one more example that how small things and small decisions can change people's lives. So this is inspiring. This is what makes me wake up in the morning, go to the office, see that what contribution I can make to my work. Right now, I'm with warehousing. Punjab Warehousing is the biggest warehousing corporation in India. All the procurement, all the food grains, storage happens in Punjab with us. So the buffer stock, the so-called buffer stock of India, which is used to feed the poor population of poor states, is done by us. And it is also a very, very challenging job. And every day, we go to the office thinking that, yes, today we need to contribute something. We need to make, more our organization profitable, at the same time, more efficient. at the same time to make sure that the storage of the food grains is up to a mark, and so that they are edible for the people who actually are going to consume it. So that small things inspire us. So these were some of the anecdotes that I wanted, some of the incidents I wanted to share, to know that how small things can make impact, and the impact is very, very big. It's, you cannot even imagine. The IFMS example that I gave changed lives. People are not coming to our offices. They are getting their pensions on time. People who have retired don't have to beg to the, आपने ऑफिस सबने देखा होगा, तो ऑफिस में जैसे तंग किया जाता था लोगों को, तो we with a stroke of one technology we stopped all that. There is no man to man interaction. It's just a click of the button and the things are done. So that is inspiring, how you can change people's life. So this is inspiration. So people who are aspirants who want to join civil services, I'll say that they should take a plunge. If there is any definition to be successful in life, yes, civil services is the definition. Why? As I told that it is one of the toughest exams. If you clear it, लोग पहले कहेंगे कि यार हमें लगता नहीं था क्लियर करेगा, कुछ कर पाएगा. आप क्लियर करते हैं तो लोग कहते हैं कि वाह वाह, हमें तो पता था जी ये कुछ कर पाएगा, बहुत मेहनत करता था लड़का, बहुत मेहनत करती थी ये लड़की. So nothing succeeds like success. Nothing succeeds like success. So when you say that you want to be successful in life, if you clear civil services, that is the success. You want to live a comfortable life, yes, the perks and the fringe benefits that the civil services bring with for you, for your family, it is taken care of. Small issues, car, bungalow, a few entourage, yes, it is taken care of. And then if you feel that there are no challenges, I must tell you that yes, there is challenges. It is not a bed of roses. But with great powers come great responsibility, as they say. It's I think one of the dialogues in some movie. So it is with civil services as well. There are some challenges. Bad boss. Everyone can have bad boss. You can have great ideas, but bureaucracy is very hierarchical. It is very hierarchical. It is very feudal. Yes, there is decentralization happening, but still the hierarchy is maintained. So the seniors want that the junior should not interact with the chief secretary or the cabinet secretary directly. It should go with us. And bureaucracy is all about files. The file movement is hierarchical in nature. So bad bosses, I faced a bad boss. So he was really a bad boss. I'll not name where and why, but he was indeed a bad boss. My life was very terrible. So I was thinking what to do. He was not letting my ideas go through. And it was not my ideas, basically it was my team's ideas, and it was an idea which could have been beneficial, which we thought that it was going to be beneficial. But he wanted to bring his name, he wanted to take credit and all that. So choti baatein, chutti na dena, ye na dena, wo na dena. So I was sitting with my SP friend one day, he was my batchmate. हमने कहा यार क्या करें इसका? तो हमने सोचा कि कुछ नहीं करते हैं, ये हर रोज अपनी कार में निकलता है, इसकी हर रोज दूसरे दिन चालान कर दिया करेंगे. So what we did was, in 1 or 2 days, it happened, and he was shocked that why his vehicles are being challaned. So he knew that SP is my friend. So he said कि यार यशन तुम बोलो यार उसको कि यार चालान कर देता है. मैंने कहा हाँ जी सर बिल्कुल मैं बोलता हूँ. तो ऐसा नहीं होगा, ऐसा क्यों कर रहा है सर, ये मेरा आइडिया भी है, ये हमने बनाया, जरा इसको भी देख लीजिए, ये बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है. वो कहता हाँ हाँ मैं देखता हूँ यार. So you have to maneuver, you have to navigate through these bad bosses and this bureaucracy to get your work done. So I'm not encouraging to get your boss challan, but it is just it is how you maneuver things, and then you can make things happen. Then people say that political pressure. Yes, there is political pressure, there is no issue, but it is not a pressure. I think we should also think that politicians are the people who actually go on the ground. They know a lot of people. They have a lot of more experience, ground level experience than we do. And there can be wisdom on the other side. There can be wisdom on the other side of the telephone. When a politician comes up with a request, one should not think that it is a request made by a politician, either as to make him happy and do it, or because it's a wrong and I should not do it. I should not come under political pressure. One should think that there can be wisdom. Those people know what they are talking about. And we should think big. As bureaucrats, we should think big. I'll just again share an example and an incident with what happened. My minister called me for a transfer of my subordinate. He wanted to place his person in a particular job. I was against it because I knowing that the person he was referring to was not up to the mark, and I wanted a efficient person to man that position. But he was adamant. So my immediate boss, I discussed this, scenario with my immediate boss. He said, Yashan, think big. Don't think about these small things. It's just a transfer. Ultimately that person is going to, report to you and me. If we are not able to tackle that person, how will we tackle this organization? So that struck me. Uh, because it was just a transfer. By making his transfer, his people place at a particular level, we wanted to get a lot of files cleared from him, which could have made our organization more efficient and organizationally superior. So I went to with my immediate boss to the minister, and just opened his room and said, sir, this is the transfer orders you wanted. And he was very happy. He said, yeah, meri baat maan li or meri izzat rakh li. It's all about ego that they have, and sometimes you need to massage. साथ में हमने अपनी restructuring of the organization की फाइल रख दी. And I can tell you that अगर उसकी वो transfer हम नहीं करते, वो हमारी organization की फाइल वो नहीं clear होने देता, because he is legally competent. He has to go. It has to go through a minister, and it has to go further to the cabinet and to the chief minister. But he was happy. He was on the back foot that they agreed with me. For my transfer, I should also agree with the restructuring. So restructuring was a big step for the organization. A transfer was a very small step. So you learn with time how to deal with politicians. So it is not a political pressure. और सबसे बड़ी बात है, politician उसी को तो फोन करेगा जो उनका कोई काम करा पाएगा, आम आदमी को तो नहीं करेगा. So this is another inspiration that politicians will call you and for the work to be done. So get inspired from them, interact with politicians. They're not bad people. Again, people say that, yeah, why civil services? There are a lot of transfers. Your life never get settled. There is a very famous and very senior IS officer, Khemka Saab. He's a Haryana cadre IS officer. He got transferred, I think, 60 times in his career. So people say that politicians will not let you work. But that is not true. As I told you that, you have to maneuver your way, you have to navigate your way. Transfers is nothing. Transfers is just a, occupational hazard, I should say. When you are transferred to a new assignment. That assignment has also a lot of work to do. You can contribute to that assignment. So it's like a rebirth. एक जगह आपको transfer किया जाता है, तो दूसरी जगह आपको और contribute करने का मौका मिलता है. तो इसके लिए भी कई बार लोग discourage हो जाते हैं that they want a settled life, they want an urban life, they want someone to live in Chandigarh or to live in Delhi and be happy with the family. They don't want transfers. So, but this is nothing. This is part of life, and when you travel, you'll meet new people. The kind of experiences that you'll get is again ineffable. You cannot explain. You'll grow as a person. You'll grow your knowledge will grow. So transfers are never bad, and one should not be settling in life, because when you settle, you stop. Life is a journey. One should transfers is just a way to get that journey to a new place, to a new department, and to meet new people and to contribute. But when you are in a civil services, you must be fair. You must be objective. You must have integrity. You must be human, first of all. Don't consider yourself as God. You don't consider yourself as others as idiots, and you yourself as the most knowledgeable person. I'll ask all of you to go to the YouTube. Mr. Manak Shaw, he was the Field Marshal of the Indian Army. There is a lecture of 50 minutes lecture on leadership. Please go and watch that lecture. He was giving a speech in the convocation. You will know what leadership is. He defines it in a very great way, in a very simple way. So civil servants are leaders from the first days. You learn leadership. I'll ask Richa to even share that if it is possible to with all of you. It's a great thing. So this is it. I think I want everyone to take a plunge in civil services. People who are actually, who have decided that, yes, I want to be a civil servant. It's a very tricky situation. You know, when you are out of the graduation and when you have not made up your mind, there are a lot of pressures. There are a lot of pressures. रिश्तेदार आके बोलेंगे आपको क्या कर रहे हो भाई, पढ़ रहे हो, लोग नौकरी लग गए, कोई अमेरिका चला गया, किसी ने अपना बिजनेस संभाल लिया, तुम क्या कर रहे हो, पढ़ रहे हो, क्या पता लगता है, हो गए नहीं हो गए. But you know, then you have to be, you know, then you have to show your leadership even before joining civil service. Then you have to have a little bit of risk. You know, once you decide, then it's a little bit of hard work. I think hard work of around a year of study. Be disciplined. You can be indisciplined all your life, but be disciplined for this preparation time. If you are disciplined in this time, I think there are 99% of chance that you will clear civil services. Take a plunge, and you know, 99 of you will come up with the treasure. And people who are not able to get out with the treasure will become good divers. I must say. इतना आपको सिखा देता है, आपको इतनी पढ़ाई करते हैं, आपका एक थ्रेशहोल्ड पहुंच जाता है नॉलेज में, तो आपके एग्जाम्स क्लियर होने शुरू हो जाते हैं. You know, you get a lot of knowledge. So a person who prepares for civil services is never a loser. He's always a winner, irrespective whether he clears the exam or not. So I think this is it. And Baki, I'll not go how to prepare and, you know, how to get what subject to choose and what not, because I think the last lecture with Chandra Jyoti and Aditya was focused on that, how to prepare the civil services. Even you know, if people, I'm in Chandigarh, if people want to discuss that, I'm always available. If they want some notes, if they want some guidance, I'm always available here for them. There is no issue on that, but I'm not touching it. My purpose was to explain that, you know, how has been my experiencing, and I must tell you, it has been an amazing experience. If I get a chance to continue, I'll continue. If I can to contribute to a little bit, an iota of difference, an iota of positive difference, I'll do that, because that makes me happy. And that is what, you know, I think Navya and Isha will also benefit, will also say the same. And that's it. I'll close. I hope I didn't bore anyone. No PPT, nothing. So any questions? Yes, at the end of the day, at the end of the session, I'll be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Your words were very inspiring. And I like the way you were so positive that whosoever prepares for civil services is never a loser in life. So I think this positive attitude is something which must have been the reason for your success in life. I like the way you talked about the dynamic field that you are working in, how you have grown in this field, and how things are changing in the Indian Railway Services over a period of time, and your experience in various other fields as well. It was really nice to listening to you, sir. Indeed, it was.
Thank you, thank you. I hope I have not misguided anyone. Only guided everyone.
Definitely not, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was amazing listening to you, sir. Now let's meet our second guest. Our second guest is Isha Duhan, ma'am. Richa, ma'am, will introduce her to you all. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Richa. I now invite our second guest, Mrs. Isha Duhan, who is 2014 batch IAS officer. She passed out from Bhavan Vidyalaya in 2008. At present, she is working as a Chief Development Officer at District Meerut in the state of Uttar Pradesh. I welcome you, ma'am, and we look forward to hear about your journey and rich experiences in your career. Over to you, please.
For the lovely introduction. I think Yashanjit sir has almost covered every aspect of services that me and Navya would have liked to talk about. And unlike him, I do have a PPT. So I'll quickly first run the PPT, and then we'll discuss, I mean, last part of it, we'll have some discussion. Is it visible? Is the PPT visible?
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet.
It's coming up now.
Okay, is it visible now?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll just quickly run this through, and then we'll have a quick little discussion on a few topics that I've jotted. It's a very small one, just 7 slides. Nothing much about it. So first of all, I wanted to talk about the civil services. Just an introduction for all the students that what it is about. All India services, we have the IAS, the IPS, and the Indian Forest Service. Forest Service has a different examination. And then we have the Foreign Service, Indian Engineering Service, IRS IT. Engineering Service also has a different examination. IRS Customs, Audit and Accounts, Trade Service, Defense Estate Service, Defense Account Service, Information Service, Postal Service. So all these allied services, I mean, there is so many services there out there. And in any form and in any way, you can contribute as you want to. And there's a single examination apart from forest and engineering. Basically, it is the arms of the government of India and the state government. So as we talked about that public, it's majorly about public service. I mean, when you join the civil services, it's about service to the public. You're actually a servant. You're sitting there as the representative of the government to bring out the schemes to the public, especially in the initial years of the service. We are more of the implementers of the schemes and face of the government. So I think that's a very, that's a sense of satisfaction. I mean, that's my motivation to go to office every day. When I go there, I see people coming, I see myself solving their problems, and I feel satisfied to come into the service each and every day. Every person who goes out of my office with a solved issue is my sense of satisfaction. And now, talking a little about, I mean, I just wanted to give an introduction about what to expect, because yes, it's about the red beacon. Yes, it's about the perks and privileges, but it's not only that, it's much more, lot of responsibility also. Thoda sa chota sa introduction hai. So in the initial years of a service, and thoda sa in particular here about the Indian Administrative Service, initial years you basically dealing with day-to-day administration, maintenance of law and order, implementation of schemes, programs, policies, conduct of elections, public grievance redressal, and obviously handling disasters and crisis situations like COVID-19 pandemic. And in the later years of service, say after 10, 12 years, you go into the policy making part of it. As the sir talked about, that lot of variety of assignments and tasks is there, with each transfer, with each assignment, it's something to look forward to. और इसमें मैं बस छोटा सा एक mention करना चाहूँगी. When I joined UP cadre, people in the academy, when you join, UP cadre is not really looked upon really well. When you join the academy, it's like, oh God, you're going to UP cadre, वहाँ क्या ही होगा and all that, lot of transfers. So I was mentally prepared. During my foundation course only, I was mentally prepared कि 3 महीने में transfer हो जाएगा. So you have to perform in 3 months and then you can expect transfer. So now if it's like more than 6 months, I actually get bored of the assignment and I want a new assignment. That's a little confession. I feel that I've already offered, a lot of. So talking about stability of tenure, sometimes, it's too much of a stability of tenure can also be bad for you in the long run. You don't get, a lot of experience. So I think I'm the opposite. So I am like, 1 साल बाद I start getting bored. कि अब नया कुछ ऑफर हो, नया ट्रांसफर आए, कुछ नई जगह जाने को मिले, नया देखें. That I think you can take it any way as you want to. Many people also take it in the negative way, but let's just see the positive part of it. And then, of course, good opportunity to contribute in public administration. You work for the people. Of course, there's job security and other perks and privileges that come with a government job. But yes, if you compare yourself to your private sector counterparts, you will feel sometimes that you're overworked. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, kuch nahi hota kabhi. Most of the times, you don't have a Saturday, you don't have a Sunday, at least in the IAS and the IPS. And underpaid, of course, as compared to your private sector counterparts. But that totally depends on what's your motivation for coming to service. So that should not be a motivation. My only point why I'm mentioning this is that should not be a motivation. So you have non-lucrative salaries, crazy working hours, transfers, and hinterland locations. Obviously, you're not living in the metros. I mean, especially pertaining to IS and IPS, you're mostly in tier 3-4 city and districts which you might not even have heard of. कि ये भी जगह exist करती है. No network sometimes. So now, but then that depends कि आपका क्या motivation है और आप what do you what do you think and what do you want to do. So मेरा ये motivation है कि I want to work in those areas and do something for the public of that area. So it totally depends. So if you want to live in like tier 1 city, it's your choice what you want to do. But I just want to present to you the picture. And then of course with great power comes great responsibility. It's a little timeline. I finished my school in 2008, non-medical way, Bhavan se, and then I finished college in 2012, appeared for civil services examination in 2013, and as you all know, it's a long process, 1-year process of the examination, prelims, mains, interview, and the result was declared in 2014. And then you get your service is allocated, and then cadre is allocated. So I got IAS and Uttar Pradesh cadre. And then we have another timeline as Sir talked about, that there's a training at Mussoorie. IAS training is at Mussoorie. The initial training foundation course is the same. And then you have various training academies for various services. So FC, Bharat Darshan phase 1, 2. And then for the IAS, we have a 1-week parliament attachment, village visit, foreign service training, a 10-day trek, and a 1-year district training. And then I was posted as Assistant Secretary as Ministry of HRD for about 3 months. After that, I was posted as Joint Magistrate at Varanasi for around 1.5 years. That is more of a magisterial post and law and order and court work, mainly conduct of elections. And then I was posted as Chief Development Officer at Bulandshahr, mainly dealing to the rural development schemes, implementation of the schemes in the rural areas. And since last around 1 year, I am at Meerut at Chief Development Officer. I think this we can discuss in the last discussion. A few questions were there, like, do you have to study 16 hours a day? I think this might have been discussed in the last session, so I'll not go with it. If somebody asks, I'll answer it. And then toughest exam, can't crack. Yashanjit sir has already answered the question. It's might be one of the toughest exams, but you can obviously crack it. It's not uncrackable. And then self-study or coaching. Best job in India, that's a question mark. Various challenges and other questions. Now, I would like to address a very important, just a second. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The screen is not shared now, right now? Is it?
No, I removed it.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So I would like to address a very important concern. अभी जैसे कि हम बात कर रहे थे कि civil services, you should definitely come to civil services. I just want to address one point in this. See, only come if you want to come. Don't come to civil services if कि पापा कह रहे हैं. You know, society is saying that you should come to civil services. This is the best exam in the, toughest exam. So I'm very intelligent. I am the topper. I will crack it. So karna hi hai crack. Dunya ko dikhana hai. That should not be the motivation to come to the service, because it's cracking the exam is one part of it, but living the service and contributing every day is another part of it. So aap tabhi aao if you really want to be in service. Aapka koi bhi motivation ho, koi bhi inspiration ho, that can be anything. But if you really want to do something, if you really want to, as sir also mentioned, ki perks and privileges left apart, but you should not be coming in the service and then saying ki nahi, kash main wahan pe, had I been in the private sector, I would have been earning more. Yeah, had I been, to main achhi cities mein, I would have been staying in good cities and I would have gone to वहाँ पे foreign चले जाते या छुट्टी मिल जाती जब चाहिए, bad boss नहीं होता उस तरह का. तो you should first be sure whether you want to do this, whether you want to, whether this kind of life you want to embrace. You want, अब ऐसा कोई व्यक्ति जो rural hinterland में, he can't survive or he doesn't, feel comfortable. So maybe, I feel कि maybe for that person, the other job opportunities might be better. So only come in the service if you're 100% convinced that you want to come and you want to serve and you want to, sense of satisfaction आपको मिले, आपकी job से sense of satisfaction मिले, rather than कि it becomes just another कि हाँ ठीक है, crack कर लिया exam and just came, because only then you will be able to contribute in the service. And in today's date and age, I would like to share with all the students also, in today's date and age, you can be successful in anything you want to do. Whatever you want to do, you want to be a photographer, you want to be an event manager, anything you want to do, you'll be successful, but you have to be 100% sure that you want to do this, and you have to put in your 100% in whatever you're doing. So, किसी भी field में just be the best in your field. So I would not like to I mean, I'm here for the talk, but I won't like to force you कि नहीं civil services बहुत अच्छा है, civil services में ही आओ. नहीं, आप जो करना चाहते हो करो. We are here only to present a picture of the civil services to you, to make your decision easier, so that I think Yashanjit sir and Navya would agree, so that you get a picture कि this lies ahead and you can take a decision based on that whether you want to go for the services or not. But you just follow your heart, not your head. If you start following your head कि this seems to be like calculation कि this seems to be the most the best of it and everything, वो फिर नहीं, it doesn't work out that way. You'll have to follow your convictions and you'll have to follow your heart, and only then you'll be able to exceptionally achieve in anything. And secondly, challenges as we talked about कि challenges हैं इस job में भी हैं, every job में हैं, and majorly dealing with कि आपका you don't have staff. If I talk about administrator service and the kind of post I'm holding right now, so I have around 1/4 the number of staff that I should be having, field level workers and all, and the competency is another question. But yes, in those challenges, political pressure, as sir talked about, I think nothing new I want to add in that. उतना ही है जितना sir ने बताया political pressure. It is as much as you want to take it, and it's ultimately a give and take and how you maneuver your way out of it. I don't want कि अभी इस stage पे 11th and 12th class students should think too much about it. So I just feel कि उतना pressures रहते हैं, transfers है आपका, it's a transferable job. And of course, other kind of issues are also there, bad bosses, other challenges are there, day-to-day challenges. But ultimately, it's that sense of satisfaction, it's that conviction that you wanted to do this, you want to do this for the public. आपका daily क्या conviction है काम करने का, that is going to make you sail through this. And I'll just like to add a small little anecdote कि कैसे आप change कर सकते हो, how little changes and little thoughts by you can make a lot of difference. So I'll give an example of my tehsil. I was SDM in Rajatalab tehsil of Varanasi, and I just gone to visit my brother in US and came back. तो वहाँ का थोड़ा technology setup देख के I just had an idea, और मैंने अपनी पूरी तहसील में CCTV cameras लगा लिए. So as SDMs, you are also judging the court revenue work. I mean, you do the court work and you are the judge. So you have to pass orders regarding all the land disputes and everything. Or court में, as you all know, कि lot of corruption is also there, and the lower level staff उस level पे, and your eyes can't be everywhere. तो उस तरह के issues थे वहाँ पे तहसील में. Plus East UP की एक बहुत ही मतलब रूरल तहसील थी वो, तो उस तरह का लोग पढ़े लिखे नहीं थे, तो उनको फायदा उठाते थे वकील, उनको बुद्धू बना करके, and all those kind of things. So I put CCTV cameras everywhere, and बड़ा बड़ा हर जगह चिपकवा दिया कि वो रिश्वत लेना देना पाप है, and all those very simple things that I did. And due to that small little initiative, मतलब at least the common man, he got to know कि यहाँ पे पैसे नहीं देने हमें. So he got to know कि नहीं, ये तो अच्छा, it was a norm. It had become a norm कि हाँ, for every paper you give 100 rupees, or for whatever small amount or big amount, that for every paper you give 100 rupees or 200 rupees. So they didn't know they knew कि ये तो system ही होगा. But when that initiative came in, so they realized कि अरे हमें नहीं देना है, we can save on, I mean, like, this is not the norm. And due to that small little initiative, there was a 60 to 70% reduction in corruption in my tehsil. Staff, तो because I could watch everybody on the CCTV camera, तो मैं बुला करके एक दो बार हड़का भी देती थी, तो everybody got scared कि देखते रहते हैं, तो वो भी एक factor था. तो उस एक छोटे initiative से 70% reduction हो गया corruption में मेरी तहसील में. And people got to know कि हाँ हमें पैसे नहीं देने. A simple एक CCTV लगाने से. So little initiatives, how you can make a difference in the lives of public. And these were the rural, the बिल्कुल uneducated public, जिनको कुछ पता नहीं था, जो subsistence level ही earn कर रहे थे, उतना ही उनकी कमाई थी डेली की जितना वो यहाँ पे आके वकील को दे देते थे. तो that sense of satisfaction, I think that keeps you going कि छोटा आप कुछ भी initiative करो, छोटा करो, बड़ा करो. सर ने example दिया BRTS का, तो that is a very big initiative and very big intervention. But whatever initiative you do, it's a sense of satisfaction. And ultimately, lastly, I just want to advise everybody कि we are all presenting a picture कि क्या है civil services. Ultimately, follow your heart. And if you do want to come to civil services, it's not, the exam is not at all tough. If you're fully convinced, I'm sure everybody has everybody in Bhavan, especially with the kind of education and the kind of upbringing you have all got, you are the people. Agar aap nahi clear karoge, I think nobody can clear. So exam is not that tough, but you have to be convinced that you want to come to service. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Indeed, it was a great message from you that follow your heart, be determined, and don't regret once you are into it. The initiatives taken by you has actually changed the society around you. It's incredible. And thank you so much again for motivating, encouraging, and inspiring words. And I'm sure our students would definitely learn from this. Now I invite Richa Vishesht to invite our final speaker, please. Over to you, Richa.
Thank you, ma'am. It was great listening to Isha, ma'am, and I like the way she talked about the initiatives and how dynamic a civil servant is in his or her approach. Our final speaker for today's session is Miss Navya Singh. Ma'am is a 2017 batch Indian Foreign Services officer. She was the All India topper of CBSE Commerce in 2012. In one of the interviews which I happened to read before today's session, ma'am emphasized on the fact that a student should be academically sound, but extracurricular activities are equally important for the holistic development of the students. Currently, she is Under Secretary at Ministry of External Affairs, New Delhi. Welcome, ma'am. We look forward to listen about your journey. Over to you, Navya, ma'am.
Thank you, Richa. You've already put me on cloud 9 with that introduction. And thank you, boss. Thank you, Bhavan Vidyalaya, for organizing this. I think a little bit of our schools, all of us carry with us always. So it's always a pleasure to come back to that institution and be able to speak to the next generation. I think Yashan sir and Isha ma'am have given a very good, broad, holistic perspective of the civil services. Of course, they're wiser in terms of their perspective. They've done this for longer. I am new to this, fairly new to this. I have just completed my training and this is my first assignment. So I'm not sure if my perspective will be that holistic, but in the interest of information, like Isha ma'am stated in the end, that we're letting you know what each of us does, what this entails, and what you can expect out of this. I'm going to share a presentation that the Ministry of External Affairs has prepared specially for our outreach to students, because given the fact that the Indian Foreign Service has 1,000 odd officers, and most of us are either at headquarters in the Ministry of External Affairs, New Delhi, or we are posted abroad in missions and posts, I think very few people sort of interact with us, and therefore they really don't know what the Indian Foreign Service is. So I'll quickly run you through this presentation. I'll keep it short. I understand we have a time constraint here, so Okay, so we call this Sameep because it's in the interest of getting our work closer to students. The Ministry of External Affairs is the ministry we work for. It has a mandate which is quite evident, that we're responsible for conducting external affairs of India. Now, what does external affairs entail? External affairs covers diplomacy, summits, global agenda. It is citizen-centric and it's development-oriented. By diplomacy, we mean when heads of states meet each other, when people at our level meet officers of other countries, and we try and come up with arrangements that can help national interest, and they will prioritize their national interest, we prioritize our national interest. And I think the most challenging part of diplomacy is to find that golden mean, wherein you can get the other nation on board and maximize and optimize the efficiency, effectiveness, etc. of your agreements, right? Of course, whatever we do, the bottom line is that you have to maximize national interest. It has to be for the last man in the country. Often there are decisions, so we clear the exam and we're placed at positions where we have to take decisions with not much experience. And the only guiding principle is actually this, that does it benefit the last man in the country? If it does, if you think it will, then please go ahead and say a yes to the call. Then we organize summits, which has leaders from different countries coming together, setting, say for example, climate change, say for example, COVID-19. When the globe is faced as a world, we are faced with common challenges. I think we need common solutions. For that, the Ministry of External Affairs is India's facilitation arm, organizational arm that will organize these summits and place India's position on these summits. Global agenda, we all know that 21st June is the International Yoga Day. Who got it to be the International Day of Yoga? It was the Indian Foreign Service. So we go out there, we convince other nations that, well, yoga has value, not only for India, but the whole of humankind. And therefore we need a day to sort of commemorate the practice of yoga and to spread the idea. So these are some kind of small, tiny examples I'm giving you to sort of make the Foreign Service more familiar to everybody here. Citizen-centric, while in India, we do not have a public-facing role. We're largely only in policy making. We sit in the Ministry of External Affairs, and our public engagement, unlike the IS or the IRTS, is minimal. However, abroad, we are the government of India for our diaspora abroad. So COVID-19, I am coming back from China. I was training in my language, Mandarin, and I was in Beijing when COVID-19 struck. It was the first country where it happened. The world didn't know what it was. Our citizens were stuck there. So why is our service citizen-centric? Because the first priority of our service, of our mission in China, was to get our citizens back home safely, right? This is the organization of the ministry, which probably you can see later if you wish to enter the service. Now, what does MEA work on? It works on promoting Indian culture and ethos abroad through cultural centers and public diplomacy initiatives, right? So every embassy is associated with a cultural center. This cultural center will showcase Indian art, Indian classical dance, Indian classical music, Indian cuisine, and bring India on the cultural map of the world. So the kind of words you hear, for example, with the United Kingdom, we have something called the 3 C's diplomacy: cricket, curry, and chicken, right? So that curry diplomacy happens because cultural centers will promote this. These are some of the core strategies currently in our foreign policy. I will quickly run you through neighborhood first. Given that you can easily see in this tiny map here that India is sufficiently bigger than other powers in our neighborhood in size. What that leads to is, of course, it comes with a responsibility for India, wherein we are supposed to be responsible for the peace and prosperity, not only of ourselves, but also of the South Asian subcontinent as a whole. But it also leads to insecurity in the nations adjoining our country, that India is probably trying to dominate over their own domestic politics. So Indian Foreign Service has to meander through both these contrasting ideas and find a way out. With each of our nations, we have a peculiar relationship. With Pakistan, it's very different. With Bhutan, it's completely diametrically opposite. So navigating through these is what we do. Of course, there are relations with major countries. Then we have the Act East policy, Gulf, India, Africa, Latin America. This is for the sake of time, I'm just running through this, of course. Then there's the multilateral forum. So the previous slides were all on bilateral diplomacy. Multilateral forum will cover things like the United Nations, things like ASEAN, BRICS, regional groupings, things like the G20. And what do we say when say something like, so if we have a concept called the common but differentiated responsibilities under climate change, who comes up with such concepts? So people like us and other diplomats from countries world over, they come together and think of something that will work for all of us, that can have a common consensus between all the nations sitting on the table then. Okay, so maybe this is more relevant for the target audience currently, how to join the Indian Foreign Service. Isha ma'am gave a very simplistic understanding, and I think everybody would agree, would sort of be, would have derived help from that one slide she showed, where she showed that there are all India services and then there are central services. So Indian Foreign Service is a central service in that we do not have any cadres. We are posted in Delhi. Our postings will only be to the government of India. So we do not work for state governments. How to join the Indian Foreign Service? It is the same exam we give, the Union Public Services examination. And after graduation from any field, you can take this exam. Of course, then we'd like to say that it's for the top rankers. It's totally up to you to put it on your priority list. The training is what makes it different. I'm sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we still do, ma'am.
Okay. So training is what makes our services different. After the 3 months of foundation course, we moved to the Foreign Service Institute in Delhi, wherein we have a 1-year program, which involves a combination of classroom learning programs, wherein we are taught basics of Indian diplomacy, basics of international relations, and it will also involve some kind of negotiation training, some kind of simulations that they organize, so that when we go out there and we are on the negotiating table, we have at least some concepts with us so that we're not found ill-equipped, right? And a part of this training is also attachments, where we go and live with the army for a week, say, where we go and live with the district administration, where we will go and look at the country as a whole, because once you're abroad, you're representing India. So after this training, each Indian Foreign Service officer has to opt for a compulsory foreign language. We have 14 to 15 languages on offer each year. Once you opt for a language, you go to that country where that language is native and you learn that language. Say, for example, I opted for learning Chinese and I was sent to Beijing to learn Chinese. It is a 2-year institutional program. You stay in that language environment, you immerse yourself in the culture. And this is one of the biggest strengths of the Indian Foreign Service, because a lot of other diplomats, they train in languages in their home countries. What that misses out on is understanding the people, right? So now when I'm learning their language, my objective is not to be a linguist. My objective is to understand how do the Chinese think. What is it that drives them? What are the problems that their society is facing? What are the fault lines in their polity, economy, society? And when I learn the language in an institute which has other Chinese students doing all kinds of other courses, it gives me a very convenient window to interact with the educated class of that country and develop my own perspective as to how am I going to deal with them when a challenge comes on my table with respect to the Chinese. So I think that's one of those things about our service and the training that sets us apart. Not, okay, so domestically, it would be like comparing apples and oranges, but that sets us apart from diplomatic services all across the world. This is career progression, which would probably be more relevant. I think in common parlance, when I got to the foreign service, I don't have a bureaucratic family background. My parents are doctors and I think why I sort of wanted to do this was because my parents also had no idea what the Indian Foreign Service does. Neither did our family friends. So when I got through the exam, a lot of our family friends asked me if I'm going to be ambassador. I will not be ambassador right away. Ambassador is the plenipotentiary of the President of India. And ambassador is the highest position we reach in our service after, say, 20 years of experience. So this is the career progression. We get posted as diplomats abroad, and this is how it sort of works. It's self-explanatory. Coming to the life of an IFS officer, I think it's fairly interesting, for the lack of a better word. It has its own advantages. It has its peculiarities also. For me personally, the biggest advantage is in terms of self-growth, the kind of exposure this service gives you. I don't think any other job in the world would have given me. Once I'm on a table, after clearing the Indian Foreign Service, I am sitting with people who are the most educated people of other countries. And I'm trying to negotiate on documents that are going to set our policy priorities for the coming 10, 20 years. And so that kind of self-growth, the kind of exposure that you get is immense. And it is what makes it impressive. Of course, there is a huge variety in what we do. Say, for example, when I was posted in China, COVID happened. India didn't know what it was. We didn't know what it was. Nobody knew what it was. Even the World Health Organization didn't know what it was, right? So you're facing an unknown, and how you deal with it becomes, sets you apart. You can go wrong, you can go right, but it will define you as an officer going forward. Say, for example, I think one of my bosses told us that just by the virtue of being in the Indian Foreign Service, you're going to be a witness to history, because you will be in capital cities of the world where events happen which go down in their history. But as an officer, your aspiration should not only be to witness history, it has to be participant in that making of history, right? And that's what it lets you do, because you are taking decisions on the behalf of your government sitting abroad. If there is an explosion in Beirut, your mission will come into the picture. If there are any Indians hurt, if there is assistance that we want to extend to that country, it happens via the embassy. It helps bring India on the global map. And that is, I think it gives you kicks which probably money wouldn't give me. But I would completely agree with Isha ma'am. Everybody should do what they really want to do. I think the exam is decently difficult in the sense that if you're doing it because of external pressure, I I can give it to you in writing, you won't make it. It has to come from within. You have to want to do this. And one of the thumb rules I sort of used was when I was in college. I did my graduation from Shriram College of Commerce. I tried corporate. I wanted to see what it was like. And for me, it was an elimination of the corporate that pushed me towards the civil services. I didn't feel motivated enough to give my heart and soul to something that was only multiplying money. And I think that pushed me towards this exam. And it's been a journey this far, which is worth it. Will may you live in exciting times sort of stands true for us. Like ma'am said, you could be moving every 3 months, you could be changing countries, geographies, talking to people whose language you don't understand. It's going to be anything and everything that you can and cannot think of. And if you're ready for adventure, if you're ready for that experience, then I think the Indian Foreign Service would be glad to have you on board. Just as on the last note, I'd like to say that you could follow us on our social media platforms to know what we do, so that we're more in touch with the new generation that's coming up, and they're more in touch with us. And I'd like to end there. I'm open to any questions you'd like to ask. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yesterday, I happened to read an article in the newspaper where the External Affairs Minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar, he has recently written a book. I think he wrote a book a few months back, that is The India Way, where he talks about the fact that realism should shape India's policy with China.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So when we listen to these people, or we see what they are doing, like you were saying, a person is an ambassador only after they've worked for a good number of years. So when I read that, and we had a session today, I was really happy that a senior of mine is working with the Ministry of External Affairs. And it was great listening to you, ma'am. It indeed was. We now have the question answer round. Many students from our school and also the audience have questions that they want to ask to our guests. So for this, I would like to invite Richa ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Richa. I would now like to invite Arman, school captain, and Meenal, school vice captain, students of class 12, Bhavan Vidyalaya, to ask few questions on behalf of our enthusiast students. Over to you, Arman and Meenal.
Good evening. This question is for Yashanjit sir. Sir, what does a regular day in your profession look like? Do you also have any hobbies that you practice in the time that you get off from work? This question was asked by Jannat Johal from class +2 Humanities.
Thank you, Meenal. A normal day, you get up, I put in some weight, so I exercise a little bit, then go to office, then there is a typical schedule. There is a schedule which is there, for the next day, which I always make. For example, if you want to have some meetings on certain issues, I always plan them in advance. Or there are certain issues which need immediate attention of my boss or my minister, I plan that. And then there are normal routine works, like normal files, normal meeting people, meeting your staff, and then excuse me, taking particular decisions. I think all of them will be doing the same thing, Navya and Isha also, that when you join a particular department, I always do that. I learn about that department, what exactly what exactly does that the department does, because your tenure is very, very limited. You will be there for, say, a year or so, or 2 years or so. Then you have to make your plans, what you have to achieve in this 1 year, because there can be 50 other things that you want to contribute to, but the time is limited, the resources are limited, and you can only do, say, 10 things out of them. and then 10 things maybe जो आप कर पाओगे वो सिर्फ 2-3 ही कर पाओगे उसमें. So make a target. I make a target कि यार ये organization में ये करना है, ये तो मैं करके जाऊंगा. कल मेरे आने वाला मेरा जो next incumbent होगा उसे ये लगे कि हाँ जी इन्होंने ये तो काम किया था. So this is a normal day. There's a, I come back for lunch and I go back. So it ends. It starts at 9:30. It ends at about 6. Then yes, hobbies. I do have a few hobbies. I started playing golf, but because of COVID, I don't do that anymore. Often I write poetry and I write proses, that keep me motivated as well. So जब थक जाते हैं काम से तो ऐसी चीजें जो है आपको they help you carry forward.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Good evening, ma'ams and sirs. My name is Arman, and the question I have is for Isha ma'am. And the question is, it is often perceived that becoming a civil servant changes your, social status in some way or another, in your social behavior in, certain ways. So, do you feel that, in any way, being in the service for a long time has impacted your social behavior? This question comes from Harmanpreet from 12th Arts.
Thank you, Arman. Well, it does change your social behavior in a manner that you become more responsible. So if right now I was to compare myself with my 12th standard batchmates, I feel the sense of responsibility, being the face of the government is much more, and I mean that is how it is, and the way you are perceived, public, especially in a cadre like UP, they feel as if you're God. They would like come to your office, as if you have a magic wand, and by just doing the Harry Potter thing, everything, all the problems are going to get solved. So yes, that sense of responsibility and that sense of serious about things as compared to my friends or my counterparts from the other service, other private sector maybe, or some other job. Yes. Sense of responsibility is there. People consider you socially. There is yes, the social status is more, but yes, with great power comes great responsibility. I would like to end it that.
As Spider-Man once said. All right, thank you, ma'am.
This question is for Navya, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I wanted to ask you about your school life. Did you take part in extracurricular activities? When did you start preparing for UPSC?
Right.
Question was asked by Ritagya Sharda from +2 Humanities.
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think my school life, I have always sort of tried to achieve a balance between academics and extracurriculars, because I think while academics will help you build analytical skills and the sort of IQ that is required, the minimum IQ that is required to do anything, to put 2 and 2 together. But what is becoming more and more relevant today is the emotional quotient, the EQ, especially in the civil services, because say for example, Isha ma'am and Yashan sir are dealing with public. They're dealing with people they meet for the first time, and they, like ma'am said, they think of them as God, and they have to sort of answer and suffice and satisfy their wants or not, and reason it out, right? So more than IQ, EQ becomes important, and it is that if I am in a diplomatic in a diplomatic event, I'm going to meet 100 people, but I will only remember 3 at the end of the day. And why do I remember those 3 and not the other 97? Because they connected with me in a way that the 97 couldn't. And I think in my, at least in my kind of career, it is about being in that 3. And I am not sure if only academics can do that. You need extracurricular activities to hone your skills, to be more socially adaptable, and sort of improve your emotional quotient. I think there was another part to your question. When did I start preparing for the civil? So I completed my graduation in 2015. Then I joined coaching. I took coaching for a year. I took the exam in 2016 and I cleared.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
All right, so this next question is for Yashanjit sir, and it comes from Anya Sharma of 12th Arts. So considering the sort of, the way civil service is structured and the UPSC is structured, the unpredictability of it, did you have any other career choices in mind when you were preparing for the UPSC and civil services essentially?
To start with, thank you for the question, first of all. Yes, there was, first I was really confused, I must tell you. There was a lot of social pressure as everyone would have experienced. But then I made up my mind a little later, even after graduating, I started preparing, but I was not that serious. I said that, I'll have some private job or everything. But when I started, seriously, then I thought, no, nahi yaar, yahi karna hai, chahe jo marzi ho jaye. So, and this exam requires a threshold of preparation. Once you reach that, your exams start getting cleared. So I cleared HCS, Haryana Civil Services, before joining, UPSC. So, I reaching that particular level, so I knew that I have to go to, civil services. That was it. If I would have failed, then yes. There would have been maybe a writer. I don't know, but I never thought.
Thank you. A friend of mine is very much into philosophy, so thank you for that.
Oh, lovely.
This question is for Isha ma'am. Ma'am, what if you'd like to point out one factor that motivates you every day to go to work, inspire others? What would it be? What is your biggest source of inspiration? This question was asked by Aman from +2 Humanities.
Thank you, Aman, for the question. Well, the one thing that motivates me every day for going to office and for performing my best is the sense of satisfaction that I get from this service. My motivation and my inspiration for coming in the service was that I wanted to do something for the public. I wanted to be in such a, make such a thing a part of my job that is able to help people out, and I'm able to reach out to them. I think doing that bit every day, even if I'm able to solve the problem of one person or one issue every day and contribute in a little manner every day, I think that is that keeps me going. And of course, it's a public service, so being in the public service, being in the public eye and helping out the public, that is one thing that I think immediate reward aapka immediate hai. You don't have to wait for some long term reward. You help out the person immediately, there'll be people coming to your office. You will be like कि हमारा काम हो गया, हम 10 साल से लगे हुए थे और एक दिन में हमारा काम हो गया, we can't believe it. So that immediate sort of thanks from the public, recognition in the manner ki their works get done. So that is a sense of achievement, and that is what keeps me.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So this next question is for Navya ma'am from Prabha Sharma of 12th Arts. So foreign services, involves, transferring all around the world in different embassies. So how difficult is it, manage keeping familial constraints and cultural clashes and whatnot, and just being in that zone while handling your job?
Well, that question, I think even I'm sort of trying to answer for myself. Though I don't have any familial obligations, conjugal obligations. But your point on cultural clashes, I think I don't see it as a clash, and it's important that we don't see it as a clash. You're exposed to cultures of different kinds, wherein you have to showcase your own without seeming jingoist, and that's what makes it interesting, and that's what makes this challenging, right? But of course, I will not deny that it is difficult. not everybody wants to do that, and that is why it is important to know what this entails. And I think someone's at my door, so I'm going to have to get the door, but that's what I'd like to say.
Thank you.
This question is for Yashanjit sir. Sir, how does it feel to take decisions that affect a vast magnitude of people regarding national policy and governance? This question was asked by Prabhav from +2 Humanities.
Thank you, Meenal, for forwarding this question. As I said before, it's exhilarating. मतलब इससे ज़्यादा satisfaction आपको नहीं मिल सकती अगर आप किसी की मदद कर पाएंगे आप. And जैसे ईशा ने कहा, the instant thank you जो आपको मिलता है, वो आपको कहीं नहीं मिल सकता. आप चाहे जितने मर्जी पैसे कमा लें, आप जितना मर्जी ऊपर चले जाएं, but the instant gratification of doing something good for the people is just ineffable. ये explain नहीं की जा सकती. मैंने जैसे पहले कहा था that civil servants are government for the common people. लोग उम्मीदें लेके आते हैं कि आप अपना काम होगा. जैसे इसी ने एग्जांपल दिया कि भाई 10 साल से काम नहीं हो रहा था लोगों का. So individuals की लाइफ में भी आप differences create कर सकते हैं. पूरे class of populace में आप अपने policies की implementation के साथ, अपने अच्छे काम के साथ आप अपना contribute कर सकते हैं और आपको वो याद रखते हैं. Isha is in the field. I'm sure that she's doing a wonderful job in Merit. और जब ये, for example, ये वहाँ से जाएंगी, तो लोग याद रखेंगे इनको कि इन्होंने ये काम किया था. तो वो आपको मोटिवेट करता है. ये चीजें आपको मोटिवेट करती हैं to do even more good. और I think this is what every civil servant aspires for. And I think everyone, not even civil servants, I think everyone aspires for. अगर आप किसी की मदद कर पाएं इस जिंदगी में, उससे बड़ी खुशी और कोई नहीं होती. और ये मैं फिलॉसफी के लिए नहीं कह रहा हूँ. अगर आप इसको सच में अगर आप खुद करके देखेंगे, आपको ये रियलाइज होगी.
Thank you so much, sir.
So this next question is again addressed towards Isha ma'am, and it comes from Ronak of class 12 arts. So the question is, being the young children that we are, and we're very active on Instagram. So on your Instagram page, there's certain information about the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao mission and things like community kitchens for disabled children and whatnot. So the question was, over the 6 years of your service, what do you think would be the most accomplished thing you've managed to do, over this entire career you've had?
That's indeed a very difficult question. And yes, of course, I keep putting on the Instagram for you guys only so that you're able to see, and get to know about a little other things. So I keep putting about Beti Bachao and all the little initiatives. And thank you for acknowledging that. Most difficult, well, I think law and order incidents, are a little tricky. I won't say that most difficult. They're difficult, or they're not easy to crack. But yes, they're tricky because of the immediate nature of them. So I'll just give an example. I'm just remembering abhi. What happened was, यहाँ पे Holi manai jati hai. Now those incidents are not there in Chandigarh, so I don't know how many of you will be able to relate to it or not. And my schooling was also from Chandigarh only, and being the kind of metropolitan city it is, these kind of incidents yahin aake we had seen, and we had observed and actually been in. तो यहाँ देखो, हिंदू मुस्लिम जो एक फैक्टर है, यूपी में एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है. एंड इस तरह के जो इंसिडेंट्स हैं यहाँ पे ऑलमोस्ट एवरी फेस्टिवल में होते रहते हैं. तो होली पे क्या हुआ था कि some miscreant Hindu fellows, they put a paint on a mosque. वो मॉस्क के आगे से जा करके उन्होंने उस पे पेंट स्प्रेड कर दिया. एंड मेरठ बीइंग कम्युनली सेंसिटिव since 1857 mutiny, उससे पहले से it's always been communally sensitive. तो ये इस तरह के incidents incite people. Suppose, you know, Muslim mosque pe agar gir gaya, to Muslims incite ho gaye and it becomes a law and order issue. So us incident mein, and that was very early on in my career when I was just training, and I under training SDM thi main wahan pe Sardana mein. So then this incident happened, and there was a huge law and order issue, और दोनों तरफ का mob incite हो गया, and they were all ready to throw stones at each other and everything. And they then, you know, one of the person died also later on, and then they sat on the road. उसमें फिर कहाँ जा करके handle करना. So most difficult is कि इस incited situation में you have to go in that situation, you have to jump in that as an SDM, as young field officers, and then you have to try and counsel both the parties, you know, against all the stereotypical notions and stereotypical ideas of religion and everything, and try to calm the situation, because you have to maintain law and order. और वो हर तरह से मतलब, you know, प्यार से समझा के, साम दाम दंड भेद, you know, डंडे का दिखा करके कि अगर नहीं समझोगे तो जेल डाल देंगे, तो हर तरह से आपको वो बेसिकली वो सिचुएशन आपको हैंडल करनी है. प्यार से हैंडल हो रही है, वेल एंड गुड, अदरवाइज, यू नो, देन यू टेक एक्शन अगेंस्ट देम, पुट देम इन जेल. तो उस तरह की सिचुएशन ट्रिकी है, बिकॉज वो बहुत स्पोरेडिक नेचर की होती हैं. उसमें आप प्री प्लानिंग नहीं कर सकते हो, और मॉब डजंट हैव अ मेंटालिटी. तो मॉब का कोई माइंड नहीं होता है, यू नो, व्हाटएवर एक कोई भी र्यूमर उड़ा तो वो पूरी मॉब इंसाइट हो जाती है. तो दोज आर लिटिल ट्रिकी. अदरवाइज डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशंस बाकी मतलब डे टू डे भी आती रहती हैं, दैट यू कैन हैंडल. बट दीस काइंड ऑफ, जहाँ पे आपका बहुत सारे पब्लिक इन्वॉल्वड है विद नो माइंड ऑफ इट्स ओन, दैट बिकम्स अ लिटिल ट्रिकी टू हैंडल. And then, of course, conduct of elections is another challenging task. So many elections happening every year in India. Go that and, you know, and the hierarchy is like worsens from the top to bottom. So parliamentary elections are the easiest, and then state legislative assembly elections are a little more, you know, murkier. और ग्राम पंचायत जो इलेक्शंस होते हैं, जिसको ग्राम प्रधान पंचायती चुनाव कहते हैं, those are the most difficult, because वहाँ पे especially in places like यूपी मतलब गोली वोली चल जाती है, इस तरह के लॉ एंड ऑर्डर इंसिडेंट बहुत ज्यादा मतलब मर्की हो जाता है बहुत ज्यादा. तो those become challenging. बाकी I think that's about it. Sporadic nature of मतलब overall I just want to say sporadic जो incidents होते हैं उनको handle करना थोड़ा सा ज्यादा tricky हो जाता है, rather than कि अगर एक planned way में handle कोई situation आ जाए तो उसको आप handle कर सकते. Like for example COVID, initially it was difficult to plan, now it has become systematic. अब ये policy चल रही है, sporadically it is difficult. Thank you.
Really insightful answer, ma'am. Thank you for that.
This question is for Navya, ma'am. Ma'am, the personality test is the final stage which can help candidates in selection and sometimes also become a hindrance in their selection. Can you share your own personal experience in the personality test? This question was asked by Arman from +2 Humanities.
Right. Thank you for the question, Arman. I think personality tests are always tricky. It's also about that day, that moment, how are you feeling? Whether you're feeling confident or not, something wrong you said that you didn't want to, the way you'd planned it in your head and it didn't go that way. So I think it's important that people, as a general rule, do not take this exam as an indicator of your abilities. You got through, great. You didn't get through, maybe something else, something better is in store for you, right? My own personal experience, I did fairly well in the personality test. Of course, not as I was expecting, but the interview was largely based on questions on economics. And because I did my bachelor's in economics, so, and the panel, the chair of the panel was a professor in economics. So my interview was on that sort of stream where there was a discussion on economics happening. I think it was okay. It's more or less like this format, but just that you're not giving me marks and they will give me marks. But I think if you think of it this way, it'll be good. Just share your thoughts. Do not try to doctor your opinions. You actually have to have integrity, is what I feel. You actually have to have integrity principles to be able to tell those panelists that you're capable of being a civil servant, because mains and prelims have tested your knowledge, so to say. Now it's more about how do you interact. Are you a timid person? Are you a courageous person? Will you bend or will you break? So those kind of things. I don't know if that answers your question. You could probably cross question if you wish to.
Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. We were really inspired by your story.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Navya ma'am. Navya ma'am has to go to some important work. On behalf of Bhavan Vidyalaya and the team boss, I would like to thank ma'am. Ma'am, what you are doing at such young age is amazing. It is inspiring. We have seen you as an all India topper. I saw you as my USG conference services in school. We have seen you as a part of school cabinet. But today we could connect to you through this platform. That was amazing. Thank you for your time, ma'am. We hope to see you again sometime soon.
Thank you, Richa. You're very adorable. Thank you so much. Thank you, boss. Thank you, principal ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Isha ma'am, for sort of connecting over this. I think there is a sense of community we all feel towards each other. And it just feels nice. I can say this with a broad grin on my face. It's been the highlight of my day. Thank you. Looking forward to meeting you all in person sometime.
Best wishes. Best wishes.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
So there were a few more questions. This comes from Stuti Mutkil, and this is addressed towards Yashanjit sir. Sir, there is often when you take decisions at such a level, there's always this voice at the back of your head, telling you, is this the right decision that I'm making? And, how do I know how it will turn out? So really, how do you get over that self-doubt and, take that initiative to really make a decision and accept the consequences that come later on?
Oh, very difficult, heavy questions. Yeah? I was not expecting these kind of questions. I'll be very frank. I've not reached that stage that I've taken such a decision, that is, that will be mind-boggling or that will be, out of the world. But, this dilemmas always happen. This is every day. It's not about civil services. It's about every job that everyone does, or even in life. These are ethical dilemmas. As far as services is concerned, there are a lot of rules. There are a lot of acts, that makes you in a much more comfortable position कि आपने करना क्या है. But actually, you don't have to rely on the letters of that act, but also the spirit कि वो कहना क्या चाहते थे. अगर किसी ने rules ही interpret करने हैं, वो तो मेरा clerk ही कर देगा. तो आपने क्या किया बेसिकली एज अ लीडर, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. तो मेरा तो यही फंडा रहता है. आई थिंक ईशा विल आल्सो एग्री दैट मैक्सिमम गुड फॉर मैक्सिमम पीपल. जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए, जो गवर्नमेंट के लिए, जो मैक्सिमम गुड लेके आता है फॉर द मैक्सिमम पीपल, वो ही डिसीजन लेना होगा और वो ही लेना चाहिए. कई बार political pressures, as I told you, the minister wants something else. People have vested interests. They want to favor certain kind of people, not the organization, not the government. But as I told you, you have to maneuver yourself. If you are straight in your head that yes, this is what I want to do, तो क्या होगा दादा? एक महकमे से दूसरे महकमे में ट्रांसफर ही कर देंगे, ज़्यादा तो कुछ नहीं होगा. So I'll also quote a very senior bureaucrat. He's an ex-bureaucrat right now, Mr. Anil Swaroop. He was 1981 batch. He retired as Secretary Coal. He said that whatever decision has to be taken in civil services has to be administratively doable, financially viable, socially desirable, politically acceptable, legally tenable, and technically feasible. So you have to balance each and everything, and then you have to take a decision. But maximum good to maximum people should be the prime fundamental criteria कि लोगों का भला हो यार, किसी एक बंदे का भला ना हो. That is the whole point.
Thank you so much for your answer.
One last question. This is for Isha ma'am. Ma'am, as we saw, you took non-medical in school. So did you already decide to take non-medical and then pursue in civil services, or did that come later on? Because we generally see that, humanities students have those subjects, so they focus on civil services. This question was asked by, again, a student from humanities. All right.
Well. That races me back to a lot of memories. So I decided that I want to go to civil services in class 8th. I mean, like, there was no other way. There was no plan B. There was nothing. I mean, there was only one plan. I didn't have a plan B also. Had I not, cleared, I don't know what I would have done. So long back I had decided, and but see, since the subject, whatever subject you choose, that doesn't really make much of a difference for the exam point of view. I mean, you have to be a graduate. You can be a graduate in any subject, and so that really doesn't, agar, I mean, I still am not able to get the ratio कि humanities कोई कहता है engineers ज़्यादा clear कर लेते हैं, humanities ज़्यादा clear कर लेते हैं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. आप किसी भी सब्जेक्ट से हो सकते हो, आप कुछ भी ले सकते हो ग्रेजुएशन में, जो आप पढ़ना चाहो, whatever subject you want to pursue, and then you can go for, even if you decide at a later stage, you can go for civil services. If you want to decide now, so accordingly you can see कि which will help you also, maybe जो ज़्यादा help करे subject. But if suppose कि आप एक subject decide कर देते हो कि मैं non medical pursue करूँगा, medical pursue, later on you decide, we have many doctors also, MDs in our as my batchmates, so that you can decide at any stage of life. Or after graduation आप it doesn't really make a difference actually कि कौन सा आपने graduation किस में किया है. And another thing I would like to add इसमें कि don't fret too much, because exam related discussion nahi hua, so I just want to add this, don't fret too much about the exam. See, you have to be strategic in your preparation. After all, it's an exam. There is a syllabus to it. There is a pattern in which the exam is taken. Yes, it's little tough. There are 3 stages. There is the prelim stage. It's only prelims hai, फिर mains hai, मतलब अलग-अलग pattern है. Prelims is more about objective selection. उसके बाद आपका एक मेंस में सब्जेक्टिव पैटर्न है, then interviews about your personality. But overall, see, you have to have a positive outlook, or you have to have that zeal and that commitment कि हाँ हम कर लेंगे. So many people are asking me questions on private chat also कि so many people are preparing, और हाँ हमारे इतने relatives prepare कर रहे हैं, but only the ratio of people appearing to the ratio of people who are selected is very less. That will always be in any exam in life, in anything in life. The ratio of people selected will, you have to feel that you will be in that ratio of people selected. You have to believe in yourself, and you don't have to see the glass half empty. You have to see the glass half full. You have to believe in yourself, and yes, you will succeed. So उसमें don't worry कि मेरा ये subject है तो शायद मैं अच्छा नहीं कर पाऊँ, कि मैंने humanities student शायद अच्छा कर ले, या मैंने भी ये सोचा था when I was preparing, when I went after non-medical, I did BTech in biotechnology, so I thought कि humanities वाले तो शुरू से ही पढ़ रहे हैं ये वाले subjects जो आ रहे हैं, तो they will perform better maybe, but ऐसा नहीं है, it's not that. You have to, it's after all, these things don't matter actually. You have to feel it, you have to see, you have to make your own strategy, and you have to give your best.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
On a very strong public demand, we have a different kind of a request for you, Yashan. Not a question this time, but it would be immensely inspirational if you could share a piece of your own poetry to inspire the students. Yashan, you'll have to unmute.
I thought you were just joking in there at the start of the session. Okay, chalo. If it is on the public demand, yes, not for you. But I'll have to, you will not be able to see me because I'm doing this chat on my phone, and my poetry is also on my phone. So I'll end it. It's a love ghazal. जब मैंने अपनी बीवी के लिए लिखा था, तो ये आप अपनी लाइफ के लिए भी लिख सकते हैं. So it can be of different context. So I'll just go if everyone wants to listen. I don't know whether they like it or not, but I'll surely do that.
They sure would. Ishad.
So I wrote this ghazal years ago. So for my wife, तो अब मैं आपको ये सुना देता हूँ. Hope सबको अच्छी लगेगी. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Right. So it goes like कि जो देखते हैं सब ऐसा ख्वाब हो तुम, ज़मीन पर चलता फिरता महताब हो तुम, सब पूछते हैं मुझसे क्या पाया मैंने, लोगों के सब सवालों का जवाब हो तुम, जो एक बार चढ़ा ना उतरा कभी फिर, हाँ अब क्या कहें ऐसा बुखार हो तुम, मैं ढह जाता एक कच्ची इमारत की तरह, तुम आए तो लगा मेरी बुनियाद हो तुम, हुस्न तो बहुत है दुनिया में सच है, खूबसूरती में मगर बेहिसाब हो तुम, यश मांगता है रब से एक परी अपने लिए, देखा तुम्हें तो लगा मेरी ही फरियाद हो तुम. Thank you.
Incredible, sir.
I'm
Wow.
sure your wife standing beside you is in tears by now.
I don't know. It may re-impress her. I don't know if it does.
Surely
Over
it
to you,
would,
Richa.
sir.
Thank you, sir. That was so beautiful. And I myself, I've taken part in many competitions and all in my school, but listening to a civil servant and the perception and myths that we have for bureaucrats, like they have a status quo and they are like this, they are like that. I think all those myths are broken in after today's talk, interacting with you, with Isha ma'am, with Navya ma'am. I think it was a wonderful and beautiful session. On behalf of BOSS, I would like to thank Principal Ma'am for encouraging such sessions. This is a series of webinar, and this is the second webinar that is being conducted by BOSS for the civil services aspirants. Thank you to our teachers, our esteemed guests for taking out time from your busy schedules and graciously accepting the invitation for the talk. Your rich experience will not only benefit the students, but all of us. I would like to thank our students for being so patient and enthusiastic. We know that we crossed the time limit, but still the students kept on sending us questions, which shows that they were very impressed by the talk. Last but not the least, I would like to thank Team BOSS. Without your efforts, this would not have been possible. Radha ma'am, the coordinator of BOSS, for guiding us throughout. Aruna Nanda ma'am, Meena ma'am, and Sangeeta ma'am for helping us out. Arman and Meenal, the student coordinators. Technical team of BOSS, Inderpreet sir, Richa ma'am, Vinay sir, and everyone who is a part of BOSS. I would like to conclude the event with a few lines from Avtar Singh Pash की कविता मेहनत की लूट. ऐसा कहा जाता है कि मेहनत की लूट सबसे खतरनाक नहीं होती, पुलिस की मार सबसे खतरनाक नहीं होती, गद्दारी और लोभ की मुट्ठी सबसे खतरनाक नहीं होती, बैठे बिठाए पकड़े जाना बुरा तो है, सहमी सी चुप में जकड़े जाना बुरा तो है, पर सबसे खतरनाक नहीं होता. सबसे खतरनाक होता है मुर्दा शांति से भर जाना, तड़प का ना होना, सब सहन कर जाना, घर से निकलना काम पर और काम से लौटकर घर आना. सबसे खतरनाक होता है आपके सपनों का मर जाना. आज की इस वेबिनार के बाद हम सबको पता है कि सपने देखेंगे तभी पूरे होंगे और तभी आपकी उड़ान को सभी सलामी देंगे. धन्यवाद. Have a good day. Stay safe, everyone. It was so nice, and this was my highlight of the day. Like Navya ma'am said, it was hers. Thank you, Yashan sir. Thank you, Isha ma'am. We connected with you over the phone and through digital platform, but you graciously accepted the invitation and you've been so warm. Thank you, Team BOSS. Thank you to all the students, faculty of Bhavan Vidyalaya. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Thank you.